Greetings everyone, this is IT2 and I am full of Mountain Dew and burritos. And I have just finished the Autumn Republic final book, the Powder Mage Trilogy by Brian McClellan. All three of these books, I have to say, were pretty consistent. 5 stars. Quality didn't go down. They all had their own little twists and turns and surprises. Promise of Blood. You get to learn about Tomas and Taniel and Capole and saving an empire from a king that has sold his country out to another country. And then Crimson Campaign. That's the one about the wait, is that the one where he gets trapped behind enemy lines, or is it this one? I think this one's... Is this one? I think this one. We get trapped behind enemy lines. And then this one is more about, you find out about all these gods that aren't really gods. They're like super powerful wizards that have lived thousands of years like vampires. And this Capole character, she can do blood magic. That's kind of the only way to kill him. Or blood on a 1,000-year-old obsidian knife, like Game of Thrones, or flint. It's a flint knife. Yeah, giant battles in this. A lot of like, there's 3 POVs usually. You got the investigator, you got Tanya, you got Thomas, and then a lot of people get kidnapped. The investigator guy, he's always like, his family's always being taken for ransom and stuff, and he's finding these evil characters that are doing political intrigue. And then you got the war front, which is usually Tamis, and you got Taniel, who's off like sniping and shooting mages and trying to keep Capole alive because they keep having to fight gods, and injured gods are coming after him, and it's just dope. It's just an awesome book. And then you got this god that appears named Adam, and he is like, he cooks food, and he can put his spells into the food. Like, he can will certain things. I don't even know how it works. It's kind of like he could mind control people, I guess, if he wanted to. Because anybody that eats his food, if he puts a spell into the food that gives him control over you, I guess he would just have it, because it's kind of one of his powers, sort of. Kresimir, he just kind of has... He didn't really get to do a whole lot. Taniel shot him as soon as he was summoned. And then for the most of this book, Capole kept him under this voodoo spell where he was in prison. So he didn't really... He kind of just like fucked around on the Kez side a lot and was like going crazy on his own worshippers because he was mad because he went insane from the bullet being lodged in his head. But then this other god appears. The two-faced god. But it's actually like he was like conjoined twins, and they were super powerful, and they like, somebody separated them with magic, and they didn't want to be separated, and it pissed them off. So it was like a guy and a girl, and they were 2 aspects of the same god, but they're really, nobody's really gods. It's all just like super powerful wizards. You got your regular privilege, you got your pre-day wizards, which are almost immortal, and then you got these gods, which pretty much are immortal, unless you use a special blood magic, flint and stone stuff, trickeries to kill. And then they have a crazy death curse that can blow off the top of a mountain. And then you have a scene in here where there's Adam and Kresimir are fighting. No, Adam and the other god. What was his name? Like Brood or something like that. And they're fighting. And Tanya comes in and stabs him with an enchanted stabby thing on the end of a musket. What do you call that thing? Bayonet, right? It's got this red striped bullets where she was like sacrificing animals. Apparently any kind of blood works. And she was like making these special bullets that would kill mages harder. And wardens. You got the wardens and you got those mage breakers. There's so many cool elements to this magic system. People can give up their powers and be like mage breakers, which nullifies magic. And then the wizards can like raise... They could turn powder mages into these special kind of wardens. That's what I understand. Like, Adamet's son got kidnapped because they found out he was a powder mage. And he'd had his finger cut off before from this Lord Vadis guy. So they turned him into one of these special powder mage wardens. But then he was the wolf of the Kez or something like that. The girlish wolf, something like that. There's a place called Girlish Lands or whatever that they go off on these wars to. They called him the Girlish Wolf, like he's from there, but he's not. I think that was the same one, because when they killed him, he's like, was he missing a finger on his hand? They said, yeah. Because Bobador had promised to kill his son for him, because he found out he was turned. Also, you've got Nyla, or Neela, whatever her name is. She's like a laundry person. And then this book, you find out she's one of the most powerful wizards that's ever lived. She's a privileged, maybe even a pre-day. Like, they all have to have these special gloves, but she doesn't even need the gloves. So a lot of people don't know she's a wizard. And then all of a sudden she's grabbing them by their spine and just melting their bones. Or melting their head off and sticking her hand in their brain or some shit because her hands are on fire. Then she does this big wave of fire and wipes out this whole brigade of 2,000, 3,000 people. And she's just I don't know. I'm thinking, so there's gods in this book and there's this blood magic stuff in this book. And the next series is this one. Sins of Empire, the first book. Gods of Blood and Powder. So, maybe this will go into more detail about how it all works. I think we're going to have totally new characters. Oh, Taniel's in this one. So, Taniel is going to be in this one. Tomas is not. I see Olam. Olam just appeared. He was in this book. Tomas did not make it. He's gone. But this is probably going to get even deeper into the lore. And I might save this for next year because I don't have it on my TBR. And I kind of need to finish all the stuff I had planned for this year. But maybe first thing in January, maybe hit this one again. But anyway, 5 out of 5. Consistent quality. This is my 10th favorite fantasy series. If you want to know the order of them, I have them listed as Song of Ice and Fire, number 1. Number 2, King Killer Chronicles, which includes my favorite book of all time, Wise Man's Fear. 3, The Stormlight Archive from Brandon Sanderson. 4, The Dresden Files, which is 19 books long. 5, Farseer Trilogy, which could extend to the rest of the Realm of the Everlings the more I read, I don't know. Number 6, Harry Potter. Number 7, The Dark Tower series by Stephen King. Number 8, The Cradle series by Will White. I just read this year. 9, The Gentleman Bastards trilogy, which I guess maybe Powder Mage is better than it now that I've read all 3 of them. Gentleman Bastards kind of took a dip with book number 2. Number 1 and 3 I really liked. Number 2 I also liked, but it was different because the first and third books go back and forth between present day and a flashback. And it's totally dope how he does it. Keeps you wanting to read more and more. I'll just leave it like that for now. So Powder Mage coming in at number 10. Maybe number 9. Number 11 I have Faithful and Fallen. And then I got 12 Tales of Alvin Maker by Orson Scott Card, which nobody ever talks about. It's totally underrated. It's really good. 13 Dragonlance Legends. That's the ones with Karam and Rachel Magier. 14 is the First Law trilogy, which everybody else has number 1, 2, or 3. I have it at 14 because I don't really care for it. It has no plot. And 15, I have the Dragonlance Chronicles, which is the main trilogy about Huma and the Dragonlances and all that kind of stuff. So that's my fantasy series. I got sci-fi series I've also ranked, but I can get into that right now. Yeah, I guess I'm close to finishing some more, I think. Nah, not really. I got 2 more in The Siege by K.J. Parker, I think. 2 more in the Greenbone Saga. 2 more in Nevernight. I need to finish the Rift War Saga. That's 2 more books. Yeah. That's enough for this video. And I'll turn it off now.